welcome this evening. We'll just start with karakia and then I'll introduce our staff and guests today. Kia tau mai te maramatanga, kia tau mai te rangimaria, kia tau mai te kaha, me te whai whakaro, mō tēnei kaupapa, hui e, tā e. So let's be grounded in clarity, let's be peaceful, let's be strong and considerate for this purpose and bind us together so it is. We're trying a new layout for those that are regulars to the board meeting so that we can hear each other. Instead of lip reading. So board member Hughes is online, and I think, is there anyone else called in? No. So members of media may call in at some stage. Sometimes they do. We have Grant Knowles from Golden Bay Community Board joining us. We have Emma Friedman, who is on the Youth Council for Motueka, joining us. So she'll speak with Trindy later on if she's up to it. I'd like to welcome our staff members, Grant Rubin, Nick Chin, of course everyone knows Mr. Kirby, Gavin Dawson sitting in the board support driver's seat, and Rowena Grover down the end up with tech support. So welcome everybody. Okay, so for those of you that have not been in this space before, the door that you entered will be the door that you exit if there's an emergency. The wharipakus are just through the door. So if you need to go to the toilet, just go when you want. If you want to leave when you want, you can leave. You don't have to stay after you speak or whatever. We do have a confidential at the end of this meeting, so we'll address that when we get to that. So we are going to kick off with, apologies. We just have a lateness.
An early leave.
If
we're not finished by 7 o'clock, I will be vacating the premises.
Okay, so everyone's out of here with clear. Have we got any declarations of interest?
Sorry, Chair, can we please have a mover and second?
Do you want to move?
I'll move. That I'm leaving early.
Councillor Murray, would you like to second that?
Well,
You'll be
you'd love
leaving
to,
the
but
scheme
yeah.
as well? Okay, no one's against that. We all agree. Okay, carried. Any declarations of interest? Cool. Now, late items. I have just handed around this project brief, which is part of the board report, which we will talk about later. Can I please have a mover and a seconder for last month's minutes? So moved by Deputy Chair.
Yeah.
Seconded by Board Member Armstrong. Thank you. Okay, so we are going to move into public forum. Does everyone else agree with the minute? Anyone disagree? Great. Now we're going to move on to public forum, and I have got two on my list. So just need to get to where I am. Can you hear all right under that?
That's because cold.
It's very unpleasant, to be fair, but someone has to sit here.
Right, so if
Next month, can we just push the room that way?
I would love to. This is the problem, is the camera.
Is it cold?
Well, she's sitting right
It's
under
not-
that, which can
well-
be noisy and cold.
Councillor Murray, to be fair, has already put his jacket on.
Yeah, should we?
I'm yet to
Yeah,
put
let's
mine on. Does that not tell you something?
All right. I'm fine. Don't worry about me.
No.
Board member Hughes is calling online because he's got a case of the man flu, so he is feeling his own draft online.
I know. Go figure.
Thank you. I acknowledge.
I'll turn these things up quite a bit.
Oh. Okay, so just for what Mr. Alborn, just in relation to the public forum, because I don't know if you were sent through the details. So you're representing a group, so you get 10 minutes. And the rules for speaking is basically not criticising any elected members or staff, or being repetitious, disrespectful, offensive, and or discussing any matter just subject of legal proceedings, which I think you'll be fine with the topic you were talking about.
Yes.
But first on our list is Mr. Hellier.
Come up here, Ray.
And we've changed things around. You will talk to the screen there.
Just so we can all see you, Ray.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. For those, Madam Chairman, members of the Community Board, councillors and others. For those who don't know who I am, I'm Ray Hellier, and I'm here to talk to you about the build-up of gravel downstream from the Shaggery Bridge on the Western Motueka Highway. Can I have the photo up, please?
Yeah, one moment.
Did you want to point at the screen? Was it-
Yeah.
Okay, well, if that's, you can go up there and point at the screen if you want.
Follow my Toastmasters training.
Oh,
to
nice.
good use. Keep them cool, calm and collected.
Well,
So shall I walk slowly and elegantly up to the
by the
screens?
time you get there, it might be up.
You got one?
No. Yes, like, when we talk about it, yeah.
You're getting it up.
There's build-up of gravel but below the Shaggery Bridge. And
You're just
Yeah,
in
no.
front of Mr. Hughes.
yeah, and what's happened is that this build-up is on facing downstream. The build-up is on the left-hand side, and it's got a willow tree growing in it, and it's forcing the water, the river or the stream, to wash and erode the right-hand bank. And with the trash that comes down when we have a weather event, could possibly wrap itself around the willow tree and build up underneath the bridge. And if there's enough water, it could move the bridge, and it would cost the ratepayers a lot of money. And for probably a couple of hours with a digger and some energetic people. Now it's up, oh, here it is. How about that? Yeah, there's the bank over here. It's not a very good photo, but that's the bank, and it's flowing into there. So, what was I up to? Oh, yeah. So with a digger, dig it out, put it on the other side, put a few sticks in it, let the stuff grow while we've got the chance, and it should be all right. The concern I have is that just downstream from there is Peach Island, and Mr. Hughes, myself, and Mr. Stevens have very pleasant memories about Peach Island, and we don't want anything more to happen at Peach Island. So if something could be done about it, we would be grateful. The other thing about erosion, there is concern amongst the fishing fraternity that there is not much fish out from the Motueka, when the Motueka River comes out. The silt comes out and it covers up fish eggs. And we cannot have fish eggs being covered up because then we can't catch fish. So we all must take an interest in ensuring that silt is whereas where possible, we avoid having more silt than we need to coming down our rivers. I lived for some time in the Motueka Valley, and the amount of silt that come down that river was awe-inspiring. It was just like pea soup. It was terrible in a weather event, and this would be the same. And that all that silt, tons of it, is going out to sea. So I asked for something to be done about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott.
Very good time. Oh, yes, have you got any questions?
Yeah, it's not a question, Mr. Elliott, just a confirmation that I put a service request in for the very same issue on the 6th of August, and I got a response on the 7th of August at 9:52 a.m. That said that the service request was being worked on. I believe at this stage it's possibly which department it's under, whether it's roading or rivers, but a service request has been put in and I will keep you in the loop.
Thank you. Is there any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Chair. Tasman Dog Owners Group.
Right.
Come on up.
I have some paperwork here, and perhaps instead of taking sleeping pills or whiskey later on tonight, you can go through these in detail. We'll sort of talk to the points of this, but why not repeat myself too much? I've emailed and copies of this as well. Look, I've gone down this side. I'm not sure if the left side or the right side is
Probably need to pass that one over there.
So you guys
Screen.
got one?
Oh, yes. Oh, you got one? Right.
Focus on your job.
Okay, I'm not sure if I should sit down or stand up, but perhaps if I sit down, then I'm less inclined to sort of, start shaking my fist and being an angry old man. So we'll start by sitting down. I thank you for this opportunity for a start. I'm not sure of all of the protocol and what I should be calling people, but I just really appreciate this opportunity to speak in front of you guys. It's something that's really near and dear to my heart and has caused a lot of angst for myself and friends over the last few years. So I've actually written something down here. So I kind of stick to my points and don't waffle, which I sort of have a tendency to do. And as soon as my 10 minutes gets close, then just start doing this or throwing something in. So on Sunday, this Sunday just gone, I met a whole bunch of interested dog owners down in Little Kaitiri on a beautiful Sunday morning. It was an okay sort of Sunday morning. And they tricked me into being the spokesperson for the 1,600 members that is the Tasman Bay Dog Owners Group that we have on Facebook. And since that time, I've got approximately zero work done on my day job because my telephone, I turn it off in the end, just so many messages and basically just goes to show just how passionate people are about this bylaw and the bylaw changes. There's a lot of strong feeling out there. Just how important the whole access to our beach really is, it just can't be overstated. In fact, one friend told me that if she brought it up one more time with her husband, he was going to drop her off at the RSPCA. So it's really taken up, a lot of time and a lot of energy for people. The meeting with fellow dog owners really reminded me just how divisive and disruptive this whole issue has been in the Kaitiri community. I didn't really realise just how bad it had got over there. But there's a massive divide that's largely been created by a tiny group of people. It's led to a whole lot of damage in relationships and a lot of confrontations and a great deal of social harm. And I'm not overstating this. I've seen people in tears. I've seen relationships and friendships just go on with us. So basically, on behalf of dog owners, to tell you all that we're absolutely sick of being demonised and vilified by members of the Tasman Bay Blue Penguin Trust. They use highly emotive and dramatic media campaign that is designed specifically to cause outrage. This hit an all-time low point when a man on his way to the Penguin Group's Wednesday coffee morning kicked a friend's Labradoodle last summer. If you've ever seen a Labradoodle, and this one I know is impeccably well-trained and well-behaved, it's like a big teddy bear. But this is the sort of division that we have out there at the moment. To be honest, I don't really want to be here, sitting here, talking trash about a charitable trust or something, or an environmental trust. I'm sure that these people started out with extremely noble intentions in the cause of protecting native wildlife. That's what we all want, right? However, they have created so much division in our community with what has been an ongoing and completely one-sided smear campaign. They have lied to you during their lobbying for the total ban of dogs on many of our beaches and openly in the media. But bluntly, they are threatening the way I live and enjoy my life. So here we are, and I am dissing an environmental trust. God help me. So this is how I live my life. I'm sort of at great risk of people saying, you know, does that man actually do any work? But this was my morning this morning. This is 7:30 on Little Teddy Beach, and I'm walking with my border collie. Our lifetime average of harming any wilderness on any of the beaches remains at exactly 0. And then in the afternoon, we went down to, I work in Maraho, and my office looks out on the foreshore. So we went down to the beach and had our lunch down there. Lifetime damage to any of the wilderness, and anything in the wilderness, including these oyster catches down here, 0. Then I went for a run. I really do no work, I mean, apart from doing this and that. I went for a run with my dog along the foreshore. And I wanted to show you this because this is a very important part of my life. It's an important part of lots of people's lives. And I wanted in this, brief of sort of that I've handed around, I'm saying that I spent in the last 8 years since I've had my dog about 5,000 hours out there on the beaches. That's about 2 hours a day. I may have exaggerated that by up to 500 hours, but I'm out there all the time. I really am out there, as you can see from the photos. Anyway, I've only got, I've still got time. I've got like four more points to make. Oh, good. Oh, thank you. Oh, look, halfway. Look at me go. So I'm going to read this out because it's very, very important to me. Let me state very clearly, I and every dog owner I know is 100% behind the protection of our wildlife on our beaches. Dog owners are animal lovers by definition, and any narrative that suggests we are not is plain wrong. I am an environmentalist at my core. My family business in Maraho has been zero carbon certified since 2018. I worked in environmental sustainability for well over 10 years. Our business has held Qualmark Gold environmental status for many years. In the past 12 months, we have donated $17,000 to the Able Tasman Birdsong Trust and $135,000 to the Maraho Environmental Trust. I spend every minute I can in the outdoors. Please don't try and tell me I am only concerned about myself and my dog at the cost of our wildlife, because it is not true. You can tell I've got a little bit of feeling in that. I apologise for that, but lots of us have just sort of had it up to here. So the dog bylaw changes, and specifically requiring dogs to be leashed at Little Kaiteri, Dummy Bay and Stevens Bay, is an attempt to solve a problem that doesn't exist in a way that will not work. The only dog attacks that I'm aware of that have been verified have been dogs in the middle of the night many years ago that have got out and harmed penguins. And as we know, dogs don't read signs, don't pay attention to bylaws and anything else. Right, the idea of taking a dog to a beach and walking up and down with it on a lead displays a rather comical lack of understanding of what we do with dogs on beaches. We go for swims with our dogs and we throw sticks for them and they socialise. We don't walk up and down the street like we do on High Street. Now we've heard, I have hard evidence to prove that 2 of the deaths that the Penguin Trust has reported due to dog attack were not true. One of them was in January 2021. I have first-hand experience of this. My daughter found a dead penguin on a beach in Dummy Bay in January 2001. I said, please bring it home. She photographed it. I have those photographs if you need it. She brought it home. I put it into a bag. I examined the bird myself. I took it to Doc and I thought, well, this is a very plump, good-looking, healthy penguin. Took it into the Doc Motueka office, and then 4 days later, an article appeared in Stuff magazine, Stuff online, and Nelson May, that this was one of 9 dog attacks on penguins. Oh, well, this is very strange. So I called the report and said, what's gone on here? Who did the autopsy? Oh, it was a lady who is in the Penguin Trust. The autopsy wasn't peer reviewed. No, it wasn't. Did you check it? And basically, I spoke to anybody at Doc. I'm lucky I'm a Doc concessionaire, so I get to talk to lots of people in Doc. And the theory seemed to be that a very gentle dog, very tiny teeth, got into a burrow and then very gently shook a penguin to death. And then, and here's the really smart part, hid it in the tide to make it look like it didn't commit the murder after all. It's nonsense. I have another case, an even more recent case, where a lady was at, and this I must admit, this is coming to me third hand or second hand, where was it? It was at Tapu Bay. She had a schnauzer. Her schnauzer ran towards a penguin burrow and was barking. She leashed the dog immediately, looked inside the burrow and found that there was a penguin that just looked like it was in distress and sick. She called Doc, couldn't get through, so called Linda Jenkins of the Blue Penguin Trust, who came down and said, yes, this bird is sick, took it away, and then within a week in The Guardian was a story how a dog had dragged a little blue penguin out of a burrow. It's just nonsense. It has to stop, please. So what do we want? This is in conclusion. We don't really want a great deal of changes to the bylaws as they are, specifically in Little Kaiteri Terry, Dummy Bay and Stevens Bay. We would like those to stay as they are. Dog owners I have spoken to don't want access to the beaches during the peak of the day in summer. We just think this will cause too much conflict, too much carnage, particularly when those beaches are full of people. Dogs on leads will be tangled up and it just won't be a good time. So what we're proposing is that perhaps the windows of time in the morning get adjusted so they don't conflict when potentially the penguins are coming backwards and forwards across the beach. So in the morning, we're suggesting a 3-hour time slot rather than a 4-hour time slot. We would like to request we get 2 or 3 hours in the evening or in the late afternoon, again, when the birds are not present. And we're also suggesting that the penguins are not on the beach. Penguins may be in the foliage and in the dunes and stuff, so that dogs at all time, any time, should, when they're accessing either between bays or across those areas, must be on leashes. So that's what we're not asking for the world. We think that would be a very sensible compromise. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
I'll just check if anyone around the table has got, yes, Councillor Walker.
Presentation. Thank you for your passion. And I do know that you do some mahi out there besides your dog. Have you put a submission in to Shape Tasman, like what you've presented today?
I will do, yeah, thanks, Trina.
Right.
I'll definitely do that. And then you'll just get to see my lovely face and hear me rant again when I'm.
Well, if you're privileged to be on the hearing, yes, we would.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brenda. So just thinking about what would happen if a dog owner broke the rules and one of our pets in the local region harmed a bird.
Throw the book at them. Make an example of them. I mean, I'm here on behalf of the people that shouldn't be punished. We're the ones doing the right thing. I cannot think of one dog owner that wants to see their damn dog come out of a bush with a penguin in its mouth. It'd be horrific, absolutely horrific. So if that happened to me, shouldn't do. It hasn't happened in 4,500 hours on the beach so far. Then I would expect to be fined and I would turn myself in. And if it happened to somebody else, if my dog got out, then I'd expect the book to be thrown at me and any irresponsible. So, and particularly somebody, if they're negligent and their dogs escaped and stuff, then please make an example of.
Any other questions? Thank you so much. It's really important for the board to hear varying opinions on the topic, especially something that's going to be coming up very shortly and will be of high interest to the public. So we do appreciate that. So thank you.
Great, thank you.
We
Thank
will
you
be
very much.
discussing it later in the board report. So you're welcome to stick around or go and I'll be in touch after.
Okay, thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that we don't have any other late public forums. So yeah. Okay, so we have a presentation. He's not here at all.
Just texted him to find out where he is. so
Right, well, we'll move
shall
on.
we? Yeah.
So we're just going to skip the presentation around the voting update to the discretionary funds. So we have three. The first is Takaka Hill Biodiversity Group Trust. Is there, yeah, would you like to join us? So I guess if you just want to give a couple of minutes, talk to your application and the board will discuss.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. My name is Charmaine Peterwright. I'm the project manager for the Takaka Hill Biodiversity Group Trust. So our application to the discretionary fund is for some e-raise lure. Looking at our application, I think it's provided all of the information that you would want, but you may have some more questions. Our predator control is just one of a suite of ecosystem restoration and protection projects that we have on Takaka Hill. It includes wilding pine control. So we have the Takaka Hill Management Unit for doing with wilding pine control on Takaka Hill. Predator control, obviously, goat control, which we work very closely with DOC and Project Zoom. We also have monitoring because you need to understand how well your work is being successful in restoring and protecting ecosystems. So we monitor indicator species like native grass skink, birds through acoustic recordings. We also recently found in January a population of Nelson green gecko, which are a threatened species. So there's lots of things we do because we believe that ecosystems are interconnected and we take a holistic approach. It's no point doing one species, protecting one species without considering the ecosystem and every other species that's connected to it. So for this particular application, the e-raise lure that we're asking to be funded will go a long way to enabling us to continue our predator control, which we've had in place since 2020. And it will be going on for some time yet because the predators are out there and doing a lot of damage. So that's what we're all about.
Thank you. I've got a couple of questions, but first I'll go to the board if anyone has any questions. One question I have, just out of interest, because I see here around traps with weaker excluders. Do we know how much damage we could contribute to that species?
So there's a few, we work quite closely with snail monitoring. And so I've actually been on a few monitoring surveys with Ruth as a paid participant. And incidentally, we're starting snail monitoring on the Takaka Hill Walkway. So the feeling is that they play quite a significant role in predating snails, the giant land snails. And so at the moment, what we're looking at, there's a few research papers which are available on the website, and I have copies of them as well. So rats do damage, and there's a certain chew pattern that they have. Weka are really smart, as you probably all realise and understand, and so they've developed a technique where they just know when to nail that snail, if they find it, right through the middle and the top, which basically renders it not a great future. Snails the giant land snails are pretty hardy, and we found them with their edges nibbled by rats, and then they'll grow something over the top of that. So rats are a problem. We control those. Weaker, increasingly, we think are a problem. But that's really just symptomatic of an ecosystem that's out of balance because snails evolved weaker.
Okay.
So that's, yeah, we don't want to kill weaker.
No,
it's
it's just because they're excluded. It'd be interesting to know what impacts left on that.
Yeah.
Just one more question.
Sure.
So my understanding of this application is to do with the section of land in between the two native, which is private land.
Yep.
What contribution is the private landowner?
Yes, so the private land, we have a suite of landowners that have the wherewithal and can pay for their trapping, so they contribute to, so we have what we call landscape scale trap lines, which are very big, long trap lines that border Abel Tasman and also Kahurangi. And so those are not feasible for somebody that's not experienced to go out there and just trundle around in that very dangerous environment. So we have landowners that contribute to contractors. We also have volunteer landowners that undertake trapping on their own property. And then we also have funding to pay for our contractors. So it's a mix.
So thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Your question? Thank you for that. What we'll do is we will go through the other two discretionary funds and then we'll wrap that up at the end. So I appreciate you putting the application in.
So would you like me to stick around? Shall I do the long drive back up to Hill and?
All right, totally up to you, but we've only got two more discretionary fund applications to discuss. So if you want to stay in the public forum, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, okay. Right. The other one is Hiawhina Marae, so no, we do not have a representative, Kat Duggan, someone. Mr. Maru is cold. I hope you're not getting board member Hughes man flu.
Stop it. I'm sitting next to me, right? Stop it.
Okay, so and then
Cold now.
well, he shut the door, so you should warm up. So we'll discuss the Marae one after I just check if we have the other. So is Jane Henderson here? No, she's not here from the community house. Okay, so let's have a chat quickly about the three, and then we can move each one individually if you want. Yes, Councillor Walker.
I was just keen to find out through you, Chair, are they advised to come and speak to their applications? Because it's really odd that Jane wouldn't be here and the Marae.
Through the chair, in there, when we receive the application, we do advise that they are welcome to attend.
The word welcome
Used to be
concerns me.
encouraged.
It should be, yeah, that. Because we can't actually ask questions if they're not present in the room, and if there's something when they're.
I mean, the wording is quite clear that
That they're welcome.
it's in their
Everyone's
advantage to attend. So, but we can change the wording so it's more deliberate for you all.
Just through the chair, I've just recently done an application for next month for the, and it said that you're strongly encouraged to come and attend.
Strongly encouraged. That's a bit different from welcome, isn't it?
What?
So they strongly decided not to come.
So
Well, we
because-
don't know.
Because of asking questions and it says that in the application.
So they're made aware it's on today's agenda?
Yes, that's thank you.
Interesting. Thank you.
Any Councillor Marae, I see you contemplating.
It's difficult to ask the question, isn't it? So I would have had a question for Te Awhina Marae and hundreds of thousands of dollars, what $700
Yeah.
whatever that was. Is there something else you couldn't use that money for a smaller project locally?
I know.
Would it
it's
be my
quite a
question?
huge project. Yeah,
But it sort of gets lost when you look at the figures, go, oh.
yeah. And
I don't know.
we don't want to assume why, so, I mean, we could table that, we could ask them to come back to the next meeting. Oh, sorry, Miss Board Member Hughes.
No, that's all right. So are we voting on the Tiafina Marai first, or we're still just discussing?
We're just discussing, but what I do want to make really clear to everybody is there is $9,000, just over $9,000 in the discretionary fund, which works out to be about 13 projects if everyone applied for 700. So, and that's to last us for a year. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we just have to be mindful. We could potentially ask these two if they want to come reapply for next month instead. If there's more comfort around the board for that. No, neither do I, but I'm just saying,
It just made sense to me, I didn't hear.
okay. So
And their project is quite a different scale to that of what Tiafina is.
and it's a regular one,
It is.
and it's serving a lot of people in the community, which, yeah.
Right, and
100%.
this board has looked after it for a very long time.
It's known pretty soon, I imagine, because they'll be paying months ahead, not the last minute.
Yes, Deputy Chair.
Thank you. I think, and I think we've done this in the past, is if we've got questions and there's not a representative here, then we table it for we defer it to the following. If there's no questions and we're still in favour of it.
Okay, so, oh yes, Board Member Hughes.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should table the other two requests. And for me, I would like to thank Charmaine for her presentation and the explanation about the private land. Predators don't differentiate between private land and public. So it's got my vote.
Okay, so Board Member Hughes is moving that we grant the Takaka Hill Biodiversity Group Trust $614.15.
Yes, thank you.
Have I got a seconder?
You're doing them individually now.
Yes,
Yes, I'll second that.
okay.
What Member Hughes did say, and table the other two.
I know, so I'm going to go back to that.
I think we have to do them.
Board Member Hughes, are you okay that I'm just singling out the moving of the Takaka?
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry to
so
be confusing.
Well, it's just easier considering we've got two that aren't here.
Yeah, that's right.
So moved by Board Member Hughes, seconded by Deputy Chair Hart. This is, we're talking about that one, the very first one. Is everyone in favour? Say aye. Aye. Anyone again? Carried. Okay. So Tiafina Marai. Councillor Walker
I'd like to suggest that the board leaves it on the table and that we request their presence at the next meeting.
Okay, can I have a seconder for that? Deputy Chair Hart. Is everyone in agreement with that? Say aye. Anyone again? Okay, carried. And our final one, the Motueka Community House Christmas Party. Councillor Walker, happy to move? I'm happy to second. Everyone agree? Anyone again? Okay, carried. Just write those down so I. Awesome. Okay. Right. So I guess just the action is to go back to Tiafina and say, we'd love to see the application again next month with the representative. All right. Now. Okay, moving on, everybody, to, if you've got page 33, which is the board report.
Can I just say that the presentation?
Oh, yes, sorry.
He was told to be here by 5, so he's going to be here in about 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right, that's cool. Well, that maybe might time him quite nicely.
Yeah.
Just quickly, I just thank the chair very much, and also the members of the board. It's greatly appreciated. I'll time some stuff that I need to catch up on, so we really appreciate that contribution.
No worries, and staff will be in touch. Thank you. Okay, so board report. We will just get into discussion and then we. Okay, so the point number 3, National Solutions Hui. So thank you, councillors Walker, councillor Maru, Deputy Chair Hutt and Board Member Hughes for attending last Wednesday. We had a really good turnout of various representatives from the ministries, the education, health and social development sectors, as well as other members of the community that work in the areas that we're focusing on, which is housing, homelessness and youth. So I'm just going to touch on, well, is there any questions first from the board around that? If not, have a look at that piece of paper I just handed around, which basically had the way outline under intended next steps. So some of them you're aware of that have already happened or happening. So stuff engaging with youth, engaging with community house, and trying to get the voice of homelessness, local homelessness, as well as with the mail room in Nelson, who produced some fantastic reports around these issues. So I haven't actually seen if the article's out yet, but that was something that was going to be produced as a result of the meeting. I am currently working on the summary report and will engage with the working group once I've pulled that together. It's actually quite massive. There's lots of stuff that came from that hui, plus the hui that we had in May from capturing community voice, plus the other bits and pieces. There are already some solutions going around at the moment where we will be starting off meetings with smaller groups to see what can come out of it. So that's really exciting that it's ignited some passion in the community. I think it's fair to say every single person in the room was 100% behind the initiative and really appreciative of the board bringing it to the light. There's a lot of future collaboration to come out of that. There's some agencies in there that are working on the same issues and they hadn't even talked to each other. So that's one thing out of everything we'd like to achieve. If that's the one thing that comes out as more communication and collaboration, fantastic. So that summary report, just for our community's knowledge, will be shared with the attendees just to make sure we haven't missed anything. Then the ministries, organisation, councils, other organisations that work in that field, a lot that we don't even know of. There's so many groups working in these spaces, and then it will also be shared publicly. And remember, this focus is around solutions. Part of that sharing, you'll see under point 3, I've got MCB community engagement. So what we would like to do is maybe springtime or a bit warmer time, so Councillor Maru won't get cold, is if we set ourselves up on the street outside the museum to be a drop-in point for community to engage with us directly. So obviously that's, you don't all have to do that. It's just something that we're putting out there as an initiative around that, that came out of that meeting as an awareness campaign, because a lot of people don't actually know the severity of what is happening, not just in Motueka, but everywhere, but here on our streets. So we have these big giant posters that are made up, which have comments from homelessness report. And we would like to also get some around hope, because it can't be all doom and gloom. And as I said, we're focusing on solutions. So so there'll be some engagement around that, as well as other. Yes, Board Member Hughes.
Oh, yeah, I'd just like to acknowledge that it was good that John Ridd, on behalf of TDC, attended, and most of the representatives were well aware of the issues facing homelessness and that, but a lot of people weren't aware of the 8-week rule, which was very important. And yeah, it needs to be noted that they weren't aware of the Tasman District Council's legislation.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was a great thing when you got everyone in the room and you can talk about all the layers and what everyone's up to. You can share that sort of information. Okay, so I guess, and this is probably where staff member Gavin can help. The reason around this was around the budgeting side of things.
So through the chair, we prefer just for audit purposes and transparency for pre-approved funding. So my proposal to the chair was that this proposal come today, so you all know what's coming up and you have a good idea to engage with that. And we can also ring fence some funds for the project to go ahead without having to go for retrospective approval for funding, which there are 3 items in item recommendation number 2, which we need to do. So it's just a matter of making sure that we've got things on record, that, you know, we're following that process around approvals for spend, just to protect you all as a board and making sure that you can have those discussions, you know, and, you know, out of that whole no surprises policy. Yeah. And I'm happy to take questions. Okay.
With this jacket.
Gold.
You didn't be coming down with some bugs.
No, I'm not. So through the chair.
Yeah.
Like I'd be equally as relaxed if there was a budget of $2,500 towards the Motueka Solutions project brief, which gives you a little bit of wiggle room. Because I don't think it needs to be prescriptive. So when we grant, we're not so prescriptive.
No.
So when we do special projects, it's about a project up to such and such.
Agreed.
So through the chair, with item number 2, these are what are currently sitting in the system for payment now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
See
this-
it, actually.
Yeah, and also the board training, and I'm just about to put in here for number 3, a proposed recommendation to support the project, which would then ring fence $2,500.
We were just missing the number 3.
Yeah,
You know, I
so
guess we've listed
Right.
3 things. But it's 3.
I can work fast, but you know, I'm not a
I'll
magician.
give it glasses.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I literally just
Go
saw
to find glasses.
300 lines of it.
Ah,
Good grief. And
You
they were
found
sitting
your
right
glasses.
there.
Yeah, 775 and got it.
So, are we just we'll do that at the end, or you want to do it in this part here?
so I think if we do it in the board report,
Yes, but I
And then
mean,
it's-
it's the board report,
Yep.
just give you time
Yep.
to, okay. So I guess if there any questions from the board around that National Solutions Hui, which I think I'm sort of more referring to the Motueka at the moment. So yes.
Do we have any dates or deadlines for when we're going to do go to the museum?
Oh, yeah, so I was sort of thinking when it's a bit warmer, like, what did I say, end of September, October.
Yeah,
It's just we've got.
yeah. I'd like to volunteer for
Oh,
doing
that
that.
was
if we're-
fantastic. And I guess we can send,
Sure.
we can do it via email, see who's available.
Oh.
Maybe aim for a Friday.
Everyone's in a good mood on a Friday.
Yeah,
So I think it's a good idea that either the mayor or the CEO, if we give them enough notice, that they could attend one of them could attend the next meeting.
yeah. So realistically, I'm sort of thinking on that timeline, it probably won't be till early next year for that, to bring all of those people back in, but in between then there'll be hopefully some projects popping up out of that with the different organisations. But yeah, I agree. And just to note on that, the mayor was invited, but he had, I can't remember what the engagement was, but it was something that's always in the diary that day. And then the invitation was extended to the CE, and hence why Mr. Ridd was. Yes, but I can't remember what the title was, or something around Board Member Armstrong.
So given some type rapidly that there are just a couple of questions about that. Is the value 2500, does that include what's already been approved in item 2?
That would be additional to.
Additional to.
Additional to.
That's first one.
That's just a number.
Tidy up, that would close the loop.
Yeah,
On
yeah,
the
that's, part of that was already spent. And secondly, just the name of it, Motueka Special Community Project. I suspect it'd be nice to have an official name for it, so that
Solution,
in a
sorry.
year's time, someone said, "What the heck was that actually to?"
Not special, solutions.
Solutions.
Community
project.
Yeah,
solutions.
solutions.
Special out, although we are all very special.
Some put it others.
I heard that laugh.
Oh, should it be community solutions, maybe?
Community solutions.
Yeah, Community Wellbeing Motueka Solutions Project.
Well,
Community wellbeing.
You name me that steering group.
Community wellbeing and solutions, yeah.
Yeah, Motueka Community Wellbeing
And
and
solutions.
Solutions Project.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, happy with that?
yeah, and I guess this stems from our meeting way back when we started the planning, and at the forefront was the most important thing to those around the table was community wellbeing. So this is sort of branching out from that. So yeah, I think it's a good idea to have that wellbeing put in there. Okay, now just note that not all of those costs are associated with that. So for example, some of the caterings to do with the workshop that we'll talk about later in here. Oh, no, I didn't put it in, I was going to say, the DOTS workshop that the board did. So that's from that morning thing.
What item did that come from then?
Board training, board expenses, yeah.
Through the chair, all of the expenses there come through your board specific targeted rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions on that section of the report? Yes.
I think that I was absolutely blown away. I met Adrian on Monday, but Shannon's story was absolutely amazing. I suspect he's got a long list of requests to see. I've already told a couple of companies that went, if you ever want an inspiring keynote speaker, Youngee guy.
100%. Which is exactly why I wanted him in the room, because he spoke as he did when we sat around the coffee table and talked. So
Amazing.
very, very inspirational and great for our youth role model, which he does a lot of mahi in that space. So he's one of the first ones that rang after that, who are going, I've got an idea. So I'm trying to help check that off. Yeah. So I'll pass that on.
I met his wife, she's joined the food share collective.
Yeah. Oh, awesome.
Because obviously protein's a big missing factor in food baskets, so to bring wild and processed stuff into that, amazing.
And the initiative that they're working on with the community kai gathering and supplying, which will be happening in March. We'll get them to come and talk at the board close to the time, just to sort of.
She won't mind, and Mr. Ridd was equally just blown away.
Good. Fantastic.
One of the first things you said the next day was,
Yeah.
oh, goodness.
Yeah, I'm so pleased. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Just to follow on from that as well, I rang Tarina the next day, I think it was, and I was just blown away. I couldn't stop thinking about his speech. It was just so moving, and I too have a list of people that I think he would really engage with. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, for some reason. Thank you. I will pass it on to Shannon. Okay, point 4, 8-week rule. Right, so I think I'm just going to, because board member Hughes' name's against us, so I'm just going to hand to you, board member Hughes.
Do we have to
Well,
approve?
why
Said
why
are we gonna
can't
do
I
it
be
for
as
you or-
inspirational as Shannon, eh? Just, yeah, lost for words there. Hey, look, okay, the 8-week rule update. It's been over 4 months now and took quite a bit of coercion this morning, but TDC have advised basically nothing's been done. And I've also been advised that the next so-called meeting won't involve the community board. So twice now, on behalf of the community board, I've tried to present a case. They're just not wanting this. I've asked to even use the big screen, just not happening. So it's pretty clear to me that the Tasman District Council are not interested in this. What more can I say? They're just not interested. But they are interested in spending a fortune trying to prove people are living in caravans. And the end result of that is you get evicted. That's it. Unless they've got thousands to spend. I go over this again and again and again, and nothing is changing. So I'm open to ideas on what to do now, because as I said, I don't trust the Tasman District Council to do anything that is community minded here. I don't know who they're trying to protect. As I said, it's one thing 30 years ago to try and move undesirables on, but the people I've seen are not undesirables, and the undesirables they leave alone because they've got no money. As I said, I'm worn out by it all. I just get the runaround. So what next, community board? What do we do now? Do we just accept it and wait for the next threat of suicide, the next person that gets moved out of the region? You know,
So I'll just get, sorry, board member Hughes, I'll just get some clarity. Maybe the councillors can enlighten us. Your understanding of the next 8-week rule workshop?
I guess firstly, Nick, is that Trinity, Barry and I, and actually whether you like it or not, we are the Tasman District Council. So I guess you need to be careful with your words. So if you think we're not doing anything, then thank you. But that's certainly not the case. So so I don't see a difference, firstly. So yes, there is a workshop, and I saw the email came through today in terms of a council, and I won't be there. I'm away. I'm in Australia. But there's a date being sent for the next workshop. So to say that council isn't interested in stopping doing it, that's sort of counterproductive, because there is another discussion about that at a council level at this stage, being led by the mayor, I believe.
Oh, okay, cool.
So the fact that the community boards aren't invited, I guess, is a question for community boards and the mayor. And I guess it's in terms of maybe it's a means to progress some changes in there and get on with trying to solve a problem. I don't know, but I saw the email come through today advising when the workshop was.
Councillor Walker.
Yeah, thank you through the chair. And I guess, Nick, the point of difference, board member Hughes, is that, you know, when Shannon come and spoke the other day, he didn't speak as a person that's victimised or a victim. He spoke with a glass half full. And as a councillor, it is very hard sometimes to get your voice across and not be ground down by the system. But we can't sit here as victims. We have to sit here with solutions. And when I was told the other day that this workshop was not going to include the community board, I challenged that. The response I got is that as councillors, we are elected in to be a voice and to push the hard conversations. And they are creating a platform where we can be very honest and frank at the said coming workshop. And you would know that since 2019, when I got elected in, I have been pushing, asking, poking, prodding for these conversations, and I don't want the conversation shut down. I want to be able to continue to be the voice for those people in my community. I'm not disregarding what the community board brings to the table, but the mayor, for whatever reason, has chosen to keep this as a smaller group. I'm sure what will come out of that and some more dialogue moving forward. And I get that that's very frustrating for you. But to say those words that TDC won't do anything for our community, they're not community minded. Buddy, we had John Ridd here on Wednesday. So they are open. However, there is a channel of which they want to operate in at the moment, albeit challenging. The door is not closed for the conversation.
Yes. Can I just clarify with the councillors? I was meaning the Tasman District Council, not elected members. I'm well aware of the support of the
Same
councillors.
thing.
I guess,
Okay, I am well aware of the support. It came out at the workshop. What I am saying is it's been 4 months and the facts speak for themselves. There has been nothing report-wise recommendation over a solution. The community board provided a solution. And please excuse my manner because I've had this going on since 2019 as well. So I am certainly not trying to upset our councillors. I fully know how supportive you are and the fights that go on behind the background. I'm differentiating between elected members and council. So the facts, as I said, speak for themselves. Okay, there has been no report. There has been no recommendations.
Totally get where you're coming from. I know. But we do have to respect that the councillors have all said that they see themselves as council. So when we're projecting anything, even though it's not them directly doing anything, they are wearing the same banner. So I guess where to from here? The good thing is there's going to be another workshop. The poor thing is that the group that brought it forward are not invited to be there when we had actually pushed for this next workshop. And I don't know what else we can do other than just let the mayor know that we're a bit disappointed we haven't been invited and that we expect to hear some of those outcomes, whether it's directly from him or from our councillors.
Could you ask for your own appointment, just the two of you with the mayor?
Well, that's another option. Councillor Walker's just suggested that we request that you and I can attend, ask if we can attend.
Or a separate meeting if he won't allow you into this.
Or a separate meeting.
Thank you, Chair, for that. But as I said, I have already requested that to John Ridd.
But it's the mayor now. It's with the mayor's hosting this next one. So perhaps we take that offline and have a chat.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, everybody. And as I said, look, my apologies if somehow, as I said, I was directing this not at councillors at all. I know how supportive you've all been and I know the fight. So yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, I guess an outcome from that is we really need to know when the next steps, because talking, let's actually, like board member Hughes said, a proposal was already put forward for a solution. So we just need some clarity around when a decision might be made. Yes, Councillor Walker.
So through you, Chair, I can say that post our solutions the national hui that we had on Wednesday, that I did have a one-on-one phone call with John Ridd and expressed again a lot of voices from around that collective group. And as John rightfully said, all councillors have to come on board, or at least a majority of them, to get that 8-week rule, whether it's a 10 in front of it or any other number. And it's up for the councillors to actually vote that in. And hence the workshop, so that we can have some more robust discussions, because you may have 3 councillors sitting here that are fully for it. I don't know that for a fact. But if you did, it takes more than 3 of us to get it through in the chambers. And I guess that's why we're having another workshop, to actually drill down a bit deeper to find out if they don't want it changed, why not, and what is a solution moving forward.
Yeah, good point.
can see as Mr. Hughes would like to, Board Member Hughes would like to respond.
Yes, Board Member Hughes.
Yeah, I feel it's very important that the elected members need to fully understand the repercussions of this this rule and what happens out there in the community. Because so far the community board, I mean, if nothing's happened for all these years, the people aren't aware. That's all I can come up with. You know, this should have had a conversation of this years ago, but the fact that it hasn't means that the Tasman District Council, be it elected members and staff, are clearly not aware of the damage to our community by this tiny little piece of legislation. And that's what we need to get across to the councillors. And so far, we haven't been able to. And sort of simply saying, hey, do you want to change this rule or not? And there'll be a couple of little bits of discussions, and depending on who guides who along, you know, that everyone needs to have the full information, and the full information in this respect is the impacts on many people in our community. And if they are then fully aware of the story, and then they vote and still say, yep, we're still going to go with this, at least we know they knew all the facts. But so far, I don't believe that everyone knows all the facts. Anyway, so I'll finish on that. Thank you very much, and we'll get on with the rest of the meeting. Sorry.
Thank you, Board Member Hughes, and totally agree. All the facts should be on the table for people to make informed decisions. Okay, are there any other questions or discussion from the board on point 4, which is the 8-week rule? Otherwise, we'll move on to point 5, which is local providers.
Is the other going to be there?
Sorry, Chair, you're a full name. Okay, so local providers. Now this came about from last board meeting. So I reached out to some local arborists, and I have included one of the replies, and I have shared with you another reply that came in after this board report. So personally am quite concerned to hear this is how people feel that they are being treated as when they are an approved provider. I have shared governance's response and said that I will get back to them after the board meeting. If anybody wants to say anything? Question anything?
I'm cold and I couldn't see, so I might as well just continue being grumpy. So good on for raising it, but my only question is, we've named the current contractor, we've blanked out the other contractor. Best practice is probably to delete the current contractor as well. So if we're going to protect the privacy of the person who missed out.
Oh no, that's
the company, eh?
That's the company that had the money. So
But
I
we just named and shamed the company that's gone through a process to get work by no fault of their own. Council uses.
Sorry, the group. Oh right, I get what you're saying, but everybody knows that that's the main company that's being used in Motueka. Everywhere you go, that's the company you see. But I totally get what you're
Not everybody that reads the minutes that doesn't have trees wouldn't know.
Yeah, totally noted.
Yeah.
Anything else from the grumpy cold?
No.
Board member
But it's a good
Hughes?
question. How do we get stuff done here?
How do we?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, look, for me, that old adage, you know, if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Chicken.
The big issue here is you just sent out 2 emails inviting people to join, and both of them had the same story. You know, this says something far more than what's said in the emails, and I keep coming back to it. Doesn't matter what the subject matter is. At the end of the day, there's something not right here. That's my opinion. So I'm grumpy as well. All right.
I do know that councillors constantly ask about, especially the transport choices project, local contractors being used. So I don't sit on the tenders panel, but these will be well under the tenders panel. These are, it's a fair question. I don't know the answer.
Well, I can tell you that we've got three contractors on it, through you, Madam Chair. 3 contractors on our tree list
Yes.
to manage trees, and they went through a process.
But is there
And-
preferred?
And their preferred, well, it depends on where they are.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's local. I did ask questions about the contract that was involved in this particular case, and both of them are local. The staff are local.
Right.
So,
But the
they're not based
companies
on,
are
yeah, but they're like, the staff is local, and they've gone through a pricing regime to cover all the aspects to protect council against all sorts of risks. One of the biggest risks is the health and safety and wellbeing risk. Now, you quoted in here about forestry trees taken down. We know forestry is a very dangerous area, and you've got to have the right sort of people with the right sort of qualifications to do it. If council does not follow the proper processes in the work and safety and health space, myself and the chief executive could potentially end up in prison because we haven't followed processes, particularly if someone gets hurt. So we have to make sure that whatever contract we put on board, that we not only cover their ability and to do the job, but also their ability to manage the health and safety of their staff in the workplace, and particularly in a public road and a public space.
So if I just one more
So,
to the chair.
yeah.
So the question wasn't about that. So the story was actually TDC had helped them get through their health and safety bark.
Yeah.
But they felt they weren't the preferred contractor, that the other contractor was the preferred. So they hadn't seen other work and got the distinct impression in terms of the feedback that yes, they might have been approved, but not a lot of work came their way.
none.
So, so that's the question. And so at that stage, and I get relationships, approved contractors, staff have, but is there a lens where we go, really like this work to go to Motueka or Golden Bay? Can you just search down the list a little bit more? So not saying can't be approved, but when they are approved, is there a preference? Sorry?
What is local and what is regional and what is national?
3 generations. Don't know, but that's the bit as I read.
At the moment, in our procurement process, we don't cover off whether you're a Murchison or Motueka or Golden Bay or Richmond. We actually go from a council perspective. We said, listen, this is the amount of work we do across the whole district. We want to have a contractors that are able to work across the whole district and do things. Now, we can actually localize it, but at this point in time, we haven't localized it. We've got 3 tree contractors that are able to work right across the whole district.
So
do the work.
I said it was the last one. So what would make it, I guess, what would make it sit nice for locals having an opportunity? Because I get contractors in principle, it's about relationships. So it's no doubt that the ones you use regularly, you'll have really good relationship with. They'll drop work, they'll go and do it straight away.
Yeah.
Relationship only comes through work. You know, so just, even if you just went back to your team and said, you know, could you just have another look where there's local work in Motueka that we could share around? I guess that's all we can ask. But you can only get a relationship if I work with you. We didn't have a relationship until we worked together.
Right.
Now we've got a brilliant one until I ask you a question. We even got the haircut the same, see?
The challenge I have is that there is a cost associated with building those relationships. And if we have people available and we're phone calls, we're going to need a tree cut down over here, we know they've got the process in place to go and do it. Yeah.
Yes, but if they are
Then if we have to
approved,
go and supervise them, and because they,
but hold on, if they are approved,
yeah,
then all of that should already be in place. And this is what this particular arborist is raising, is they were already pre-approved council provider, but they just added that other layer that you were just going to allude to, that they went through all the health and safety systems to make sure that nothing was going to be wrong. But that should have happened as part of the approval process. And this is where these 2 in particular providers are distressed and like, no, we're not going to deal with council anymore because they dicked us around for, you know, this many years or whatever, and we never got any work. And that's where the relationship building comes in. They never had opportunity. Councillor Walker.
well, they might have. I need to check back to how the procurement was done, but they might have put a bit.
And that was my request, to investigate the procurement.
So I hear, Richard, when you say that there's a cost involved, but you know what? There is a cost involved if we don't look after our local community. If you want to keep Mott on the map, we have to be supporting local.
Well, can I ask the question? If somebody lives local and works for a national company, what's the difference?
We've got local arborist companies. So these are like 2-man bands, 3-man bands that live, spend and operate locally.
Well, if you have a staff member that lives locally, and works for a national company, they spend their money locally and everything,
But-
are you going to do them out of a job?
No, but we're specifically talking about these providers. So there are small mum and dad companies that provide locally. They live locally, provide locally. These are the ones that have come back and said, we've missed out year and year again. We've
Yep.
gone through the process. We never got any mahi. These ones that are a franchise from Auckland, they may live locally, but they're working for someone who's, taking them. That's really the point that
Okay,
is trying to be made here. Sorry, Councillor Dowler.
Right. I'm
Welcome.
just going to put a slightly different light on it. Like last year, we had an issue where the Rewalker Hall was toilet, and it sat on our sheet thing for about 4 months due to contractor availability. So I rang the plumber that I use just to do on our house. He lives about 500 metres away from the hall. And I said, are you a council approved contractor? No, I'm not. I went, bugger. Okay. I said, you should become a council approved contractor. Yes, I will. I will actually go down the path. I didn't realise that I may be used by council, because the word is that they've got approved contractors and there's not much interest in others. And I said, well, that's incorrect in my world. And I said, so get on with it. So anyway, a couple of weeks ago, I got summons to go down and open up Sports Park to have a backflow valve tested by a plumbing firm. No problem with that. Went down, opened up. The plumbing firm arrived from Nelson. 2 people in the van. Spent 3/4 of an hour there. Tested the backflow valve. Ticked the box. Went back. No doubt we've paid a fairly substantial bill. 2 people, a 90K return trip. So I rang my plumber and I said, what's going on, mate? I said, I've just had an out of town firm here doing some work that you're quite capable of doing. What's the go? Oh, well, I haven't got round to becoming an approved contractor yet. And I said, you are joking. I said, here I am scrapping for you guys, and you can't be bothered to get off your backside and do a simple piece of work. So you can help some people some of the time, others, why bother? But it really irks me that this guy, I put it to him, he could have done the paperwork, become an approved contractor. He's a full-blown plumbing firm here, brew, drain, layer, the whole 9 yards. And he hasn't bothered, and here we are paying gold for an out-of-town company to come across and do the work.
Well, let's encourage him to do it. I mean, I haven't looked through the process, how arduous it is or
It's not,
anything.
it's not hard.
So the
When
health
it
and
comes
safety.
to the arborist thing, I can understand that, because if there's a tree on the road, you've got to have all the traffic management stuff and everything that goes with it. So it's not just a plumber turning up to fix a leaky tap or something. So it is quite involved, and if these people tick the box, well, that's fine. There's an issue, but yeah, as I say, you can help some people some of the time.
That's right.
That's right, we can help people, but if they're not going to help themselves, but we're talking about the ones
Yep,
that
no.
have helped themselves,
That's
and
fine.
they're still not being
That's-
chosen.
As I just said, that's another story.
Yeah. If people don't choose to apply, that's their problem, but the ones that do, we need to consider those.
So as you would have seen, the email from governance, that they felt everything was fine and they weren't willing to investigate. Is there appetite from the board just to go back and ask if they please review the procurement process while we try and get some of these try and encourage some of our local providers to go through the being approved? Otherwise, they just won't if they don't feel.
I would like,
Oh, sorry, board member
oh,
Hughes.
sorry, yeah.
No, it's all good. I think that, that was a good point Councillor Dowler put forward, and therefore it reinforces what you've just said now. I think we should start sending out applications, inviting local suppliers to become council approved. I mean, especially if, for things other than trees, which may be not quite so provocative. Yeah, so
Councillor Murray.
Yeah, I'm through the chair. Would it help if the board understand how contractors are prepared. I'm not sure. I don't know how many we have approved, what there is, or
3 arborists.
I've heard 3 others, yeah. And I wouldn't want to go too more than 3. Simply for the fact is, managing contractors like that, if you have 5, 6 or 7, and you distribute the job, who's going to come and check them? Because it's not just the price they pay, it's the quality of the work that they do. We've got a staff member to come over here, or the staff member to check it over. If we've got a relationship with a contractor, we know they perform well, and one of the criteria we do have with our contractors is the ones that perform well get priority on the next job.
Oh,
The
sorry,
ones that do quality.
what am I don't understand the procurement policy, so for that being made available to the board,
we can
certainly I'm
talk through.
interested in it.
Yeah, we can talk that much.
Let's have a look at the procurement policy.
Agree. Yeah. Okay, so I can't remember the staff member, but the action to get clarity around the procurement process and the policy of which council are awarding contracts.
Because it's the policy where you change the difference.
Yeah, so policy plus process.
Through the chair, I'll probably go it's an action.
Thank you. Yeah.
The other aspect too that I will comment on is that if you have too many, the quantity of work each gets goes down and their prices go up. So if you go out and say, listen, we're going to have, I don't know, let's say $50,000 of work this year. What is your rates to do that? Compared with 20,000, I can tell you the rates will be different. So your quote about Nelson here, coming all across from Nelson to do it, I suspect if we looked at the rates and the costs that they do it, they probably do it a lot cheaper than a lot of local people would do it, but I'm not going to go into that detail. My experience with procurement over the years, it's not all about local, it's actually about the way it's managed and how we deliver it and how the contractors actually do the work and the quantum of work they get.
What was interesting from some of the feedback was the quoting. So they were given different, so for the example was, this one firm was given a quote for 1 tree to remove, and their firm was given a quote for 3 trees to remove. So the prices were not apples for apples. So that was one example. But the other example, which is more recent, which came to the board, is that the quote that came in from the one that ended up doing the work was $1,400, and the quote from the other 2 was half of that. So given there might have to be another thing around because it was on a side of a road, so that might have gone up a couple of hundred, we don't know. But there does seem to be quite a variance in those quotings. So I think it's a good point which Councillor Maru has made. Let's have a look at the policy, understand the process, and then go from there. Okay. All right, items from the board. So congratulations to our second time gold Olympic medalist, Rissalini Pody Lane. Now, Councillor Maru had contacted me about doing something to acknowledge her that the Mayor was keen to do. So I'm really pleased that you encouraged the Mayor to do it over here. So the board will sort of drive that and engage with the Mayor's PA to get that off the ground. The problem is, Reese doesn't live here anymore because her rugby career is based in Tauranga. That's where all their training goes. So they have just flown back today. They've literally, my husband's just picked the whānau up a couple of hours ago. Reese is in Tauranga. They will start training a couple of weeks again. It is unlikely that she will be back in Motueka until probably Christmas time. So it might time with our last board meeting, I don't know. She's very keen to obviously get around the school. She's a Motueka high girl. So I don't know, we'll have a talk about how we can do something appropriate that will fit her personality. But yeah, I think that's a great acknowledgement for such a stellar representative of our community. Councillor Walker.
Thank you through you, Chair. So in the interim, are we able to zoom her in and congratulate her, or because it seems kind of like if you don't capture the moment, it's lost.
Yeah.
And I know that Lofi would be more than capable of bringing some of her whānau in here so that at least the board can do something, even if it's by a screen, because it works for some, board member Hughes.
He's reading his phone.
I just think
I agree,
there's
I
an
agree.
importance of it's happened now, and Kate Pye should be back in December, but you've kind of lost that real opportunity of, yeah.
Yeah, just that congratulations.
And I'm sure that the school will do something because
Yes.
you're on the board. But I think as a community board,
Yeah,
and
100%.
with the mayor already saying he'd like to acknowledge that we should be doing it at one of these meetings sooner
So
than
maybe the
later.
next meeting?
And I mean, I get that her not being here in person, but that's as personal as you're going to get from someone.
Yes, yes, until we know. Okay.
And someone could be banging on her door as she speaks and delivering the flowers there in
Yeah.
Tauranga for her to enjoy,
Yeah,
as opposed to getting in the wash of what Christmas might look like for her whānau.
yeah. And no, they've just flown home right now, about 2 hours ago. So I love that idea. I think it's really important to not miss the moment and it be overshadowed by everything else. So 100% agree. If everyone's okay that we try and schedule Reese to Zoom in our next board meeting. Everyone okay with that? And we'll organise something special to go up there. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't been on Zoom really like this, so I think it could work really well. I mean, I can see you all, hear you all really well, so it could easily work. Yeah, good idea.
Perfect. All right, let's make that another.
Present flowers to me if you like, as a practice.
Okay, we'll work on that in the background in time for September. Now, oh, no, we're going to do that in thing. That's in toasting. Okay, items for public forum. So we had 2 speakers. Deputy Chair's potentially solved the problem of the first speaker, Mr. Hellier. The service request is in. I don't, is there any other conversation around that the board want to have around Mr. Hellier's discussion? And then Brendan Fulburn from the Tasman Dog Owners Association group. Councillor Walker.
Thank you through the chair. And I think it's great that Mr. Hellier came with that environment concern and the way he delivered his message. I'd like to think that when you get a response from your service request, Deputy Chair, that you would CC Mr. Hellier in, so he's kept on loop of how TDC are moving forward with that, regardless of what team responds.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's about forming, positive relationships, connecting with people.
Keep Ray in the loop.
Yeah.
Mr. Hellier, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, cool.
Yeah. I'm not sure that it's actually gravel buildup. It looks like a natural bank to me, so they're gonna have to have a look at it and see.
Oh, yeah. I mean, whatever the outcomes, long
Correct.
as.
Yeah, so it may not be gravel removed.
Okay, all right. So,
To use.
yes,
Yeah, yeah, I actually had been up there as well. It is underneath the bridge. There's only a small area for the stream to go through. It's pretty chocker, and there's actually quite a well-established willow tree as well, right by the bridge. So I'm sure it would benefit from a cleanup there. That's it.
Yep. All right, we'll see what comes out of service request and the follow-up by Mr. Kirby. Did anyone have any comments or anything around Mr. Alburn's presentation?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go Councillor Maru, Deputy Chair, and then Board Member Hughes.
That's the thing, Manager. Is the board going to submit?
Okay, my personal view is it might be a bit contentious. I haven't spoken to the rest of the board. What's the feelings?
Bylaws are contentious. I guess
Yes,
that's your role, is to, what you hear is to present that wider view of what you hear.
we've got both sides.
I'll present both. Because I guess you can't criticise if you don't participate. And so the board's role is to advocate on behalf of the Motueka community. Little Kaitiuteri and Golden Bay will be the 2 hot spots in this whole bylaw review. So councillors will make the decision, the hearing panel will make the recommendation, but the board also has some responsibility in hard decisions, because one of the things that was criticised earlier is, hey, well, you guys just need to make a decision. This is a decision, but that's why if you can't come to a consensus, you come to a vote and you have a board outcome.
Well, my understanding was we were individually going to submit, but I am going to be proposing something later around submissions, because staff member Dawson's working on a list for us, and that may be part of that discussion, but I get your
So it's helpful. I know board member Knowles have just come from a workshop today.
Well, through the chair, we went through all of the bylaws that are currently
up for.
Yep, and we spent a few hours this morning submitting on all of them as a board.
Great, yeah. Deputy Chair Hunt.
One thing I would like to say in the 7.1 updates from the July public forum.
Oh, can we just quickly state, hold on, I'll just check if Board Member Hughes, is your comment around
It's on the same
Brendan?
topic, yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry, yeah, it is.
So
I'll just go back to Deputy Chair Hunt.
So my question is follow on the items from public forum, which is on the report here, and also from Brendan is, and I don't know if I'm talking out of turn here, if Little Kaiteri, sorry, is so bad for penguins, then why is the Penguin Trust relocating penguins to Little Kaiteri? They've just recently relocated one from Kena. So I'm a bit confused as to, is it a problem? Or is it not a problem? Because if it is the problem, why are they relocating penguins to a problematic site? That's one of my comments on the 7.1.
So this was from last month's presentation, so it's just that counter. So, I mean, I don't think anyone here can answer that, but a good point.
It's just a point that needs to be raised, I think.
Yeah. Board Member Hughes and then Councillor Walker.
No, ladies first, Councillor Walker.
Okay, there you go.
I like it.
Through you, Chair, couple of points. One is I'd like clarification when GB just did their workshop. Were your councillors sitting in that workshop?
Oh, good question.
And my second one is I acknowledge that we have somebody here to do a presentation, and I wondered if we could adjourn this part of your meeting to allow him to speak, so he's not here all night.
Okay, well, let's go to Board Member Knowles.
Through the chair, we have one councillor present who stepped away from the table when there was a conflict.
But they heard everything.
They heard everything.
Yeah.
So the chair who's going to be chairing all of these hearings was not present. Okay, thank you.
Good pointing. Good clarification. Yeah, Board Member Hughes.
Many years ago, I heard that people at Little Kaiteri were wanting to make it a gated community. Is that correct? Does anyone remember that? They wanted to put gates and stop the public coming in.
Concern.
They have on the camp.
Just might be a bit of a
It was
rumour mill.
many years ago. Okay. And heard when we were electioneering that also it was brought up then about not wanting dogs on the beach. And I think there was people that lived there that didn't want dogs on the beach. Okay, so my thoughts on this is dogs specifically the only issue? Not boats, not people, not the encroachment of mankind on the natural environment, which is I see over in Golden Bay. They had penguins living under houses. That must be really enjoyable. I've seen a penguin colony down south and it stunk. So
Not just in Golden Bay. We had one in
no, what I'm saying is here, I think the issue here is basically the encroachment of people on their natural environment, not necessarily dogs are the cause. Who knows? That's just my opinion. But I am interested in the discrepancies put forward over just what constitutes a dog attack and whether or not everything was completely correct. So we do have to be careful of what's been told to us as a board, I believe. Looks like we have to do our own homework a bit more. But yeah, my thoughts on it are, I mean, I know fast boats run over penguins. Stoats, I mean, we've seen the development and the amazing traps and the safe havens for the penguins that are being made. So there's a lot of efforts here. But I also hear that the dogs walk along the beach and the nesting areas are not sort of out in the open. Also concerns me with what you've just said about if there's a problem area and then they're moving more penguins to that area, I would be looking at moving them away from mankind and all the effects that man has on the environment, put them somewhere safe. I also hear of stories of rodents swimming from the mainland to Adele Island. That amazed me. So, you know, rodents are very particular, and rodents are not owned by people, and they cause grief as well. That's me. Thank you.
Good points, Board Member Hughes. And we'll try and get you a copy of this that Mr. Orban shared around. Oh, you have?
No. Okay. One more question.
Oh, yeah. We'll get you a copy of this so you can digest that. That might help with clarifying some things. Yes, Councillor Maru.
So my question, Madam Chair, is my last naughty question for the night, and then I'm going to.
Oh, I doubt it.
So if we go back to a conversation we had about the 8-week rule,
Yes.
councillors are in the best position to advocate around the council chamber, and the board's happy to support. If that's your stance for bylaws,
Yes.
then why isn't that your stance for the 8-week rule? I don't get the difference.
So hold on, so
So in the report here, it says, make protection a priority, and it goes, councillors are in the best position
Oh,
to advocate around the council table, board are happy to support. I don't think the board needs to support. I think the board needs a view. That's my personal opinion. As someone who won't be in your workshop for that, for obvious reasons, I'm sitting on those bylaws. But if that's the status the board takes from bylaws, then how come you won't let us advocate on your behalf around the 8-week rule? So I don't think you can have it both ways in the.
maybe it's more decision making. Yes.
I'm getting slightly confused there. But look, if you want a decision, I'll give you a decision. I think there's enough rules put in place to protect everybody with the dogs. So if you want a position, I'll say, look, I think everything's good as it is.
Yeah.
Does that help?
I'll just clarify what.
But I said I'm confused with
I'll just clarify
combining penguins with the 8-week rule.
Yes. I'll clarify what I think Councillor Maru was referring to. So under section 7 of the report and the replies from last public forum, point 3, make protection a priority, which is one of the points that Linda Jenkins put forward. The response is just around councillors are in the best position to advocate around the chamber table and board are happy to support where opportunity arises. So that's meaning the decision makers are our councillors. Board has other avenues to advocate and support. Yes, Board Member Hughes.
Okay, so now I'm clear. So what I'm saying about the 8-week rule is you haven't got all the information, right? So we've been given all the information about the penguins, and it looks like there's a discrepancy in that information. So there's the two situations. So we don't want to make a decision right now on the penguins and the dogs because according to one speaker, he's saying there's a bit of a discrepancy. And the other speaker, whom we took as gospel and made a decision based on that. So let's get all the information before we make decisions. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. And just before I let Deputy Chair speak, I was just going to say, I was going to propose that board members get together Friday. He's rubbing his head and discuss. To go
Sick, I'm sorry.
It's all right. You're right. I'll just quickly say this.
Well, by Friday.
To go through because some of these submissions are due, I believe, 2nd of September or something. Oh, and there was another one.
One due on the 1st and then another due on the 7th.
So when we get that list, I think if we can sit down next Friday and, I mean, this Friday, sorry, just because I'm leaving soon. So if we can get everyone, no, not quite, I'm driving a transit, but anyway.
Oh, that's you.
Get the board members together, councillors, it would be great to have you in the room, but I know you're pressed for time, just to have those discussions about where everyone feels they sit on that and see if we can put forward some board submissions, as councillor Madu has alluded to. So I'll put that out via email to see who's available when, but I sort of think we need to get that conversation first and then maybe look at, I was going to talk to Gavin later. Yes, Deputy Chair.
Thank you. So getting back to the make protection a priority, councillors are the best position to advocate around the council table. We've only heard one side, which is the Penguin Trust. So we've heard their side a lot. We've only heard the other side, the candidates. So after the, that's right, yes. So, but we have heard a lot of the Penguin Trust, regardless of submissions. So, and I think from the last presentation last month, in the discussion was maybe having a walk around with her or something like that.
Yep.
So if we're going to do that, we also need to do it with the dog owners.
Yeah.
Obviously separate. But if we do one for one, we've got to do one for the other, in my opinion, because at the moment it feels like whoever speaks loudest gets heard. And we all know that the minority are quite loud. And unfortunately, it then affects the majority. So I just really think that we need to be mindful of being fair to everyone's voice, not just one particular trust.
Agree, Councillor Walker.
Just to counteract that and due respect, when we were in the old building and the thought of a dog bylaw coming up for review, we could not move for dog owners. The Penguin Trust did not get a voice because they didn't even know that the dog owners were coming. So I think that the Penguin Trust are just kind of trying to get their view aired just as much as our dog owners are, but they didn't get to be heard last, how many years ago was that? And like the whole car park was flooded, the building was flooded with these very passionate people. So I don't think it's unfair to think, you know, that either I think it's great that we're getting both sides of the coin being presented to us. And the fact that we've been invited to go and look at the Little Blues, I mean, they were using initiative. You know, I'm waiting to be invited by the dog owner group to go wander around with them. I don't think it's a given that we'll get that.
Let's come.
I just think, yeah, you have to be really careful when you're sitting here that you're not already biased or putting your slant on whatever is happening with the bylaws. I think we just really need to be open and accepting that whatever material gets before us, it is we have to be due diligent in understanding what material is and where the facts sit with us individually.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So I just think that the dog owners did get a very big hearing last time before it even got, and then it got pulled because of the
I agree with
flavour in the room.
I agree with what you're saying through the chair, but I have seen out and out misinformation that has been presented to all of you and at the TDC chambers. And I think it's unfair that you guys are being asked to make a decision with wrong information.
Yeah, and well, let's just say that's a fair point in that. And we all agree that we should have this much information from all sides, so we have a balanced view. Totally agree, and we'll you know, do our visits and hopefully the dog owners reach out too. But I am conscious, we have got Drew here.
And we'd just like to let Mr.
Board Member Armstrong
speak.
I was present, of course, at that thing 4 or so years ago and remember it very clearly. I'd like to think that the board should be able to do a submission because I think that's the job of the board. I agree with Councillor Maru. But this, from experience, this particular one is just horrendous. And I can't see very easily how the board could represent the people of Motueka based on what we've heard so far. We'll finish up just giving 4 individual opinions, I suspect, of the thing. It's just too big and too contentious and too many voices shouting for us to actually provide a sensible solution. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, fair point. And I guess if we have that discussion and if we come to that conclusion that it's individuals, or if we have the board, just like Councillor Maru said, listing our for and against across both of those, then so be it. But we'll address that hopefully this Friday. So we are just going to pause the board report there. I'm going to welcome you to the table, but I'm also just going to whiz to the wharipaku because I've been busting since 24. And then we will.
Yeah, so they were actually without. Because it's not actually, so was the public spaces.
I just think it's not always as contentious. Oh, not really.
So was public spaces.
I know.
Lot tangential.
This is essentially
the outside.
getting they sit outside the library.
It's interesting conversation.
Hey mate, can I come sit here with you?
You could comment on it. You could comment on procurement, couldn't you?
True. Could do, yes, yes. So I think
I'm just really,
That was
how you going to stay interested in this again when you're chairing this on Thursday? I think Drew's coming to see you. Yeah, him and Glenn were off to see the media.
I suggest you kick it off.
No, him and Glenn were off to meet
Just reduce Drew, get him underway.
Yes. So we'd just like to carry on, please, and introduce Drew Hayes from Tasman Alliance to give us his quarterly update. Thank you, Drew.
yeah, thank you for having me again. I missed the last meeting, the last quarterly meeting. So what I've done this time around is just done a bit of a year wrap up. The financial year for us obviously just ended. So yeah, I'll give you an update on what we've been up to in the Motueka Ward, as well as give you any hot points from you guys to go away and work on. Yeah, once we've got the presentation up there.
I can move to my screen.
Story of our ward. We are. Yeah, all good to go.
Fantastic. All right.
Can you see board member Hughes?
I'm gonna email him then.
Oh,
We can share.
I can't hear you move everything around.
Oh, it was on before. It's gone off a moment ago, but carry on. Yeah, it's on now. Yeah.
Perfect. Slides though.
Yeah. That's all right. You can speak to what's there.
Yeah, fantastic. So I guess on the cyclic and maintenance front, we've been pretty busy in the Motueka Ward. We've managed to spread about 4,275 tonne of maintenance metal, which obviously keeps those unsealed roads in a good state. And that grader has been around and graded 414 kilometres of the ward's roads, which is a fairly big chunk of grading. I wasn't sure whether to put this one in or not, but chemical treatment. It's a bit contentious, but like dog ownership and but we've managed to treat 430 kilometers of road, rural road in the district for, you know, looking after our furniture, things like signs, spraying around that, spraying around culvert ends, and just other features that need spray. Not so much weed spraying, more just maintaining our assets. So signposts, keep it, well, no chemical spray to keep the weeds away from growing. Heavy maintenance, so digging holes in roads, stabilizing roads, etc. We've done 726 square meters. And an interesting statistic, and it was actually lower than what I was thinking it was going to be, but our signsman has worked on 275 signs in the ward, which, considering the size of the ward and the size of our network, I expected to be higher. The total amount we've worked on is in the 900s. So well done, Motueka. It's good, keeping the rates down. Nice.
And we're looking after our signs.
Looking after those signs, yep, which is good. Councillor Walker's favourite statistic, potholes. We've filled 704 last financial year.
Sorry, say that again.
704.
Potholes.
Yes, correct. And
How
then
many to go?
Someone tells me, my thunder.
well, there shouldn't be any open we know about. Mowing, pretty cool statistic. We've done 1,210 kilometres of mowing in the district. So that's, quite a bit. You know, imagine that mower driving from here to Dunedin and back a bit, you know, it's a long way. Next slide, please.
Cones.
No cones for mowing, Councillor Walker.
Are there any local graders you can hire?
Oh,
Ooh, ouch.
yeah, but can you stop saying?
We seem.
No, I didn't want to box of tissues.
Could we go back a slide, please? Doesn't seem to want to come across, but pre-reseal repairs, obviously a large part of our workload is getting ready for those reseals. So on the pre-reseal repairs, we did 1,500 square meters of asphalt work, sort of leveling and edge break, as well as 6.7 kilometers of flanking. So that's where we take the shoulders off the road to expose that seal edge and also allow the water to flow from the surface down into the ditches. Next slide, please. So on the renewals front, we had a fairly big program in Motueka. That's the road list there effectively for the chip sealing that we did. And the chip sealing in particular, some pretty cool stats. We sprayed 120,000 litres of the black stuff there. It's called binder or emulsified binder. So it basically sticks the chip down to the road and creates that waterproof barrier that protects the pavement underneath. And to put on top of that, we also sourced 1,100 tonne of chip. And a lot of that was actually made locally as well, extracted from the Motueka River and crushed.
You hear that locally?
Did you hear that?
Yeah, with the content.
Next slide.
Sorry, Drew.
Oh, that's right.
Went back,
See,
no.
I beat you earlier.
Oh, I caught the end of it. That's why I said local. So,
Good man.
the Motueka Ward did very well last year in terms of our asphaltic concrete program. So that's the harder wearing surfacing we put in high stress areas. Obviously, we did Quail and Wildman, Main Road, Lower Moutere and Wildman, Umakuri and Little Sydney, and Umakuri and Old Mill Road. So a few of those sites were problematic for us in terms of continual potholes, and the asphalt's gone in and we've had nothing but positivity back from it. So it's a good outcome. Next slide, please. Looking forward, I've sent the major works link out to the board. So everybody should have that, and if you haven't, then just sing out and I can send it again. But I know the 3 councillors have got it because I nagged them about it. But yeah, really powerful tool for looking at what's happening in terms of those reseals for this coming year or this year that we're in now, and also future years. So yes, next slide, please. So I just want to share a bit of cool stuff with you. Obviously a lot of commentary about, you know, alliance type contracts as well. Where's the value in, you know, monetary terms? And our unsealed maintenance strategy is one of the really good ways we can, you know, describe that to people. So you see that's our grader there. That's the one that gets around. Cliffy's in the driver's seat there. He's our operator. He's actually driving that huge piece of plant with 2 little joysticks. So no steering wheel or anything, just joysticks. So it's pretty cool. You'll see on the back there, it's got a walk and roll attachment. So when we need to compact what he's put down, he lowers that down on the hydraulic rams, and it drives those tires into the road and compacts it. Works really well. So next slide, please. I guess our unsealed strategy, why did we need to do it? I guess when we came along to the Tasman network, we were getting complaints up the wazoo about the state of the unsealed roads, obviously potholes, corrugations, drainage was particularly poor. We were doing a lot of reactive grading, which obviously costs a lot of money if you're chasing roads across the network instead of just going in a nice smooth cycle. There's a lack of compliant gravel at that time on the network, you know, in terms of us being able to crush a compliant gravel. The specification was that tight that it was very difficult to make. And even when we did make it, it didn't go particularly well, which obviously all drove the cost up. Next slide, please. So we've actually moved to more of a page green philosophy, which is a bit of an unsealed maintenance mettling philosopher, I guess. We've also changed our maintenance strategy to an asset management based maintenance strategy, and it's beared some real fruit. Next slide, please. So we've moved to a resheeting philosophy. So rather than just put a typically 50 mil layer of gravel on the road just to top it up, we've been putting a decent amount, 100 mil, which allows that grader operator to actually work the gravel, remove potholes, and then put some shape into the road as well. And by putting higher crossfall in, that is what I mean by shape, that gets the water off the road quicker, which means less deterioration for that unsealed layer. So what are the outcomes, I guess, from it? If you go to the next slide. This is the unsealed CSRs you can see from 2017 and 18 when we came onto the network. You can see right through, gone from 250 right down through to, we were, I think, 47 last financial year. Oh, sorry, customer service request. So a complaint about an unsealed road. So that's one really good statistic you can see there. If we go to the next slide. You'll also see there the meters squared of grading that we completed is also dropped right off with this approach. And we're at the point now where we're running the grader, where we started in 2017, we had 1 full-time grader on the network, as well as about 2 months of service when we put the second one on, through to last financial year where we ran that grader at less than 80%. So he has a day off, he has 3-day weekends now, our operator, which is really cool. So it's a massive financial bonus for us now. Obviously, investing in the strategy over the last few years has really worked and it's beared fruit. Just go to the next slide, please. And as a result, typically our unsealed roads are in a really good condition compared to where they have been. And yeah, you get that from the lack of complaints, really, which is really good. Next slide. Thank you. And I guess one part that the board that I report to for the Alliance sort of pushed us towards was we're not very vocal about, I guess the parent company that I work for, Down, is not very vocal about what we do in the community. So I thought I'd share some of the stuff we've done in the last few months, in particular the Motueka area. So one of our 4 persons, George, his kids go to not sure which primary, but a primary in Motueka, and they play for the Motueka Nets. So down
Not a photo from.
no, it's not.
Yep.
I couldn't get a photo of the Motueka Nets, so I just used that one.
Like blocking, no?
Hmm?
George
George
from
Gribble.
Walker. Oh, no.
Yeah, he's up one of the valleys behind Woody Walker there, yeah. Yep. So yeah, we Downer obviously sponsored some jerseys for the kids basketball team, which is pretty cool. And then also Downer took out the Nelson Regional Hospice tug of peace, or tug of war it is these days. Where we stepped up the line with a team of athletes, you could say.
Were you one?
No, I fall short of the cut-off by 25 kilos. Yep. Yeah, we had a cut-off. The lower limit for our team this year was 125 gigs. Our average team weight was 145 per person. And the heaviest we had two at 165. So we destroyed the competition, which was really good, and we won outright. And when they presented all the awards at the end, we found ourselves and our trustee alliance partner, Tasman District Council, up there taking the 2 awards, which were obviously for the win. And then TDC also raised the most amount of money, so they got a trophy as well. So it was cool to see the alliance partners up on the stage receiving that. Yeah,
It wasn't raised locally.
and then the last one there obviously did a bit of work. Yeah, down and built a bit of a path there along by the saltwater baths, and yeah, we've had some really good feedback about it. So it's cool to be able to work alongside the councillors and the board to make it a reality, and then get it through Parks and Reserves as well, and everybody's happy at the end. So yeah, good story. So
for your patience on that one, because Transport Choices slowed it down a little bit, didn't it?
Transport, yes.
Thank you.
We were searching for a while where to spend that money in the community, but yeah, it was good that one came, because I guess we could, we talked about a plaque as well at the gardens down here, but realistically, if we can do something that's our bread and butter, we get more bang for our buck. So yeah, so it's a really good outcome. So next slide. And that's me. So I guess if you've got any questions, then yeah, go for gold and let me know the hot points, the things that the community are asking about in the transport world, and I can try my hardest to solve it, or give you the information you need to go back to them.
Thank you so much. So I've got a couple of questions. One is, have you got any funding left for community projects?
We do have some funding left for community projects, yes.
Excellent. So we go onto your website.
You can just email me directly.
Excellent.
We do also operate a community run type one where our staff can go in, and it's called Down and Donate. And I'm tied up with Natureland to do a bit of voluntary work there. And I've put in, and we've received 12,000 so far from Downer. So yeah, if there's anything like that, a community group that you think could benefit, then let me know as well, and we can put them in.
Wonderful. And the other question is, and this is just, I was chatting with a volunteer firefighter just recently, and they were talking about access roads, particularly rural. So do you have regular meetings with the emergency services? So you can say, or do you just rely on service requests that says this road is accessible, or?
Mainly service requests.
Yeah.
Yes, but I'd be surprised if there was a council road that's not accessible.
Yeah.
Forget it, it's okay.
Sorry, I should say, I'd be surprised if there's a council maintained road that's not accessible for a fire engine, yeah. Yeah, but by all means, if there's any issues, then let us know.
Thank you. Is there any other questions? Fading away. He's got the mantle. I really appreciate you coming along to these meetings, because I learn heaps, and it's really cool to hear what's happening in our community. Because when we do get questions, and I haven't heard much about potholes for a long time, but we did get a lot. So we can always respond now because we're informed. So thank you so much for coming along.
Awesome, thank you for having me.
Patience to present. Councillor Walker just has a question for you.
It's not potholes. Thank you through your chair. It's always really good to get your reports, and just like the chair said, they're very educative. So thank you. I guess my question is, how do you get your good news story out there beyond what you bring here, and obviously what you'll bring to the operations committee on Thursday? How do you get that good news out there, and how do people know that you've got that community project funding or the Downer Donate?
I guess, yeah, it is difficult. I'll give you that, because we don't really have a social media platform. As
You don't want one.
We don't want one, yeah, but
You could highlight that on Thursday.
I guess that, yeah,
You could,
the way is for
acting chair even.
sharing it, you know, things like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. I guess word of mouth as well.
And then we could potentially individually share some of those successes, like
Yeah.
we're allowed to take snippets of some of the.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like the saltwater paths, TDC actually put it on their social media page. So it was good to, you know, see that out there as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is difficult, because where's the line between blowing your own trumpet and, you know, celebrating some of these successes?
Yeah, no.
Thank you.
All right, excellent.
Thank you.
Locally, with our local
People, just saying.
With a local.
See you
radio-
Thursday. Just saying.
Okay, conscious that we've got many of you that want to have to head off at 7, and we have a confidential move in shortly, and I've lost my place, so I've gone back and forth.
We just, through the chair, we just now to the vote on the resolution.
Okay, so. All right. Do I need to read it out, or can you all see? Board Member Hughes, can you see the screen? Can't hear. Hold on, we're just sharing.
No, there's nothing on the screen, but oh, there is now.
Yeah, it's in.
Oh, okay, yeah, I didn't see that before. Yeah,
I'm happy with that.
Yep. all good.
Okay, so I've got Deputy Chair Hutt next to me is happy to move that as a whole. So 1, 2, and 3. Is that what you're proposing? Yeah. Is there a seconder? Board
Well,
member-
yeah, I'll second it.
Sorry, Board
Oh.
Member Armstrong put his finger up before you, Board Member Hughes, so he's our seconder. But I get it that you agree. Is everyone else in agreement? Anyone against? Okay, so it's carried. Thank you. Right, that's that. Now, we need to do actions. So disregard what was in that report, and I think there is papers all handed around. So we'll try and move through these, please. Right, it makes me want to. Okay, so. Yeah, this, yes,
Very confusing, you know, what these.
I know the
The subjects just chairs reported every time.
formats,
Nothing out what it might be about.
agreed. So the format that we have isn't quite carried over to this, so we will work with governance to get it back formulated. So we've got our subject header at the top, so it's easier to follow. So the first one's actually going to Councillor Walker and Emma. Now, this is around the rubbish bins. These lovely designs here. So I'm just going to hand it over to you, Councillor Walker, if you want to.
So quite some time ago, the Motueka Youth Council was asked, or well, they were involved with upgrading Phillips Bush. And the last part of the project that hadn't been kind of finished was the brightening up the rubbish bins to try and mitigate the fact that people obviously didn't see the bins because the rubbish was on the ground. So the youth councillors of the day, which Emma, who's a fairly new youth councillor for us, and it's very, very cool that you're here tonight. Hopefully we don't scare you off when you and Will, another UV, may continue to come to these monthly meetings. So the youth council decided that they would quite like to make the bins stand out. So along with Lynn from Parks and Reserves, it's been a very long project. However, we have some samples of what the youth would like to see wrapped on some of the bins. And the good news is that Lynn said that the quote that we got was for much bigger coverage. So potentially we will get more bins done than what we originally thought. However, these are the 4 samples that we have up. review of the project, other than what we've shared recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we just wanted some feedback. Lynn thought they were great. She was a bit concerned about the circle in the middle.
Because this is the, where the,
So that goes on the lid.
Yeah.
So the idea is the circle part goes on the top of the bin and the rectangle shape goes around the body of the bin, but it doesn't cover the breathing holes and the drainage holes. And apparently there are some pretty coloured bin liners, which I haven't actually seen. I'm just
Okay.
looking over at the reserves team. Grant, do you know anything about the colour of the pretty liners?
Sorry?
No. Far too fine a detail. I see it written on your face. Went along with you.
What questions you're asking?
Yeah, yeah.
It's all right, Grant.
Your wake over here. Anyway, feedback. It is a project that was given to the youth council. Yeah.
well, like you said, a wee time coming. So
I was young when that started.
thank you for your perseverance, councillor Walker, and pass that on to the youth council too.
Been gone.
Yes, board member Armstrong.
So,
Well, I think that's up to you.
my opinion. I love these three, the one with the red worries me a little bit. It's sort of, you know, in a green environment.
Right.
But that's opinion. The other ones I think are great. Green and yellow predominating.
Yeah.
I'm presuming that we're going to use all four. We're not choosing one colour for
No.
all the bins.
No,
Right.
these are the designs that they've
Okay.
come up with, and
I mean, if you are horribly opposed to this one, which is the one you're mentioning,
he's just saying it's a.
then we can stick with the other three.
Um,
Feedback from anyone else?
well, like I was going to say, they'll see that one.
They will.
Um,
That idea was to be seen. However,
Go, sorry.
We can sit for.
My feedback, because I like to think of myself as bright and cheery, but this is my favourite.
the dot got something to do with it.
But I absolutely love them all. I think the effort that's gone into it is amazing, and you know, with the theme as well of Thorpe's Bush, with the, I always get this name wrong, Flora and Flora, no, whatever it is. It's like mural. I can't get my
Yeah.
mouth around it.
Yeah.
This one in particular sort of really goes well with that theme. So yeah, I think it's great, and it's I walk around Thorpe's Bush quite a lot with my dog. It really is going to make a nice impact and brighten up the area.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So well done.
I thought you'd like the heart, love Motueka.
The heart.
The heart.
Yellow one.
Oh, down there.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. It's lovely.
So the idea is there's only going to be 4 bins done initially. Is it?
I need to go back and have that conversation post tonight's meeting with Lynn. Because the quote that Image Creators obviously is for a much bigger wrap than what, so they were going to do the entire bin, but we worked out that actually logistically that's not good to block the holes running around.
Yes.
So potentially we will do 4
Yep.
and see how they stand up to the weather and the environment and aka people. And the big dream and the big plan was when we were beautifying High Street, that all the bins would be similar.
Cool.
That would be
Yeah.
nice.
Okay.
So I will go back to Lynn and just see, yeah, and get a new price on the smaller wrap.
Yeah.
But in essence, I guess we just need a steer, the youth council need a steer. Do you approve of the 4, albeit that one sticks out more than the others?
Well, you're only doing 4 bins. I mean, I don't have a problem. Does anyone else? You look like you want to say something, councillor Della?
Just going to say, I congratulate Youth Council. Absolutely, what they've done.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you. Thanks for progressing that action.
No, we don't.
No,
It's all in hand.
Just say that the board endorse what the youth council are doing with us, and we look forward to it actually getting on the bins.
And congratulate the Youth Council.
Yeah, well, I said that before, but anyway. Okay. Next action is, so the standing orders do you want to just talk to that quickly, just so everyone knows?
Just make notes that I have.
Yeah.
So through the chair, we had initially planned one for the was the 30th. But our sector body has come back and they worked with DIA, the Department of Internal Affairs, our local government branch, and also our professional bodies in reviewing all of those. So they're doing a review at the moment, and there are possible changes to reflect changes in Local Government Act, which have come, and the Local Electoral Act. So there's a bigger piece of work happening, which that needs to filter down to us. So we've got the updated version to reflect the new law. So we were initially going to do one for council, but we've deferred that also until we've got the complete set. So what we didn't want to do was to do a review and then we're coming back in a month saying, oh, actually that's now out of date, because I think 1st of October we have to adopt the new standards to make sure that we can have online council meetings and all of that. So it's a really big piece of work, and I think just for efficient staff use time and elected member time, it's better that we have the final product that's up for consideration. So that's the update.
Thank you. And then the next one was just around the fence and police and
Might do that. So Mike rang me the other week about something totally different, but I think he's got questions over firefighting wells and different bits. So maybe it's time to catch up with him. So I'll just when's a good time? Because Friday doesn't work for me, but not that I need to be there. But
no, that's okay. The next 2 Fridays are pretty taken up anyway.
How about 6:30 on a Tuesday night after a community board meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Perfect.
That'll just mean it's finished.
6:30.
Very optimistic. After meeting. So after the next.
Yes, I'll see if it's available in September. Yeah.
This is to meet with Fens. Okay, great. Thank you, councillor Maru. Next one is councillor Diola. What's this one?
Oh, the aerodrome.
Oh, aerodrome. So yes, you gave a wee update to me. Thank you.
So I'll read the email I received the other night from Stuart Bean, who's used to be the owner of In-Flight. He's now a consultant. Due to aircraft issues and not safety issues, it looks like Skydive Abel Tasman will be shut until the quiet plane arrives back. That decision was made yesterday, but not yet confirmed, possibly as long as up to October the 1st. He will update me this week at some stage about that. A quick discussion, it just appears that because the old noisy plane's been doing so much and the other plane was supposed to be back by now, the maintenance hours for that noisy plane is, I've got to park it.
Yeah.
So, because it's got to go away and have its test done. So, yeah, so we won't see maybe next week, unless they can bring another plane in, I suppose. We won't see them jumping out of perfectly good aeroplanes until after the 1st of October.
Did you capture that? Perfectly good aeroplanes.
That's a
Pardon?
that's a real shame, just on my own opinion, in my opinion. Because I know the skydiving and money into the district, into Motueka, so you know, they stay here, they visit the parks as well as jumping out of a perfectly good aeroplane. So yeah, that's pretty gutting.
Well, so I don't think it's totally sad, but anyway, it's just a fact of life that they have to abide
So
by
what
the
are
rules.
the chances of them getting, sorry, through the chair, of them getting a quieter plane?
I don't know.
For
That's obviously they must be working on that, because if the other areas are too busy to load a plane, well, it won't happen.
That's terrible.
So
Okay.
yeah, anyway, that's it's just a shame that the other one, the parts have only basically just arrived in the country by the sound of
Yeah,
it, so
it's
they'll
been-
start putting it back together shortly.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality, isn't it, like you say. Okay, now the next one. I mean, I don't know, around a few, you have anything to add to that? Oh, yeah. From this side of the room.
Oh.
Around, visiting the mentorship with Stephen Richard. I don't know. I don't know that one. I think was Mr. Kemp, is he the city man, right? So we'll just have to park that one and get a written update from Tony later. Who knows? Now the only thing about the Twin Oaks that we need, so just to update the action, we need an update from the reserves team, because an arborist assessment was carried out in early July. So we just need that update. And then hopefully staff will report and affected to try and find some to cooperate around the issues that is causing a lot of stress there. The next one. I don't know. That's I don't know what that's actually about. So we'll park that one too. Councillor Walker. Okay. Oh, that's already done. So we can close the next one about Councillor Walker and Jenny Strange in the iwi, because that has been done. That was the blessing of Dex Reserve report. So that's closed. The next one, okay, so that's just the other one again about Mr. Kemp. So we'll wait for Tony to give an update on that. Kim Drummond. Oh, okay, so 8-week rule is in there again. So we have had a workshop with council, and part of it was around the 8-week rule. So this was the second one, and now we hear there will be a third one, but the community boards aren't invited to that one. So we'll talk with the mayor offline on that one. The next one, why have I got still to do? Yes, I know what I've got still to do. So the one around Schaffner's request.
Out of Claire's budget.
It's out of my budget.
That's how you know. I know, dear Claire.
Yeah. Okay, we're just going to park that one because it's too detailed. I don't. The Mr. Williams one can be closed.
Did Mr. Williams get a response to that?
Yes.
He's not here tonight. Is he okay?
Yeah. No, no. He said he wasn't going to be here. I'm pretty sure last time.
Cataract operation.
That's right. Because he hit one and then the other. That's right. Yes. I have responded to Mr. Williamson and spoken to the high school, and just for your own information, they did actually have some serious problems in the tech a while back, and that's all been addressed. So it was a good point that he raised. The next one, that's not one. Okay, so Councillor Maru has done that, and Gavin has picked it up. So this is around. Do you want to just quickly talk to that around the closed account and the funding automatically crossing back to board balance, but it has to.
Oh, yes, no. So there's council's due to go through their annual process of carryovers in September, and then as part of that process, finance will report back, and they'll be able to advise what the final figure is, and then from that point, then finance work to do any carryovers, what criteria is, but until they go through that process, and finance work through that.
Yeah.
No more.
And then
So it's an automatic process, but until that happens, we just need to.
And then I guess the tag onto that will be trying to have that meeting back with Mr. Drummond about shifting any of those budget items that we had that discussion way back. Does everyone recall what I'm talking about? Or-
Yes.
So then that will,
Clarify, that's Mike Drummond.
yes, Mike Drummond, yeah.
Chief Financial Officer.
So we'll do that once council's gone through the automatic process. Okay, yeah, no, sorry, yeah.
I'd just say that all the money that's been rated on the Motueka Ward for this community board.
Yeah.
Any of that's unspent gets carried forward and it's reallocated to the board again. It's not lost in the general rate.
Yes, which was what our concern was last
right.
time. So it's good to know that that's a
Yeah.
automatic process. Now this is relook at project to move the seat to Tasmania. Oh, okay, so that's special projects. We'll talk about that later. And if we jump 2 more down after that, where it's got 30th of July, Councillor Walker shall raise with NZTA, that is closed. Councillor Walker has jumped through a few different hoops to get some information around that and shared it with Mr. Wilson. The next one is also closed. The one after that, August, yes. So Gavin's not far away from giving us a list around what submissions and that relevant to us. And I'm proposing that this Friday, only because it's Tuesday and Tuesday's no good, that we try and get together. So I'll do that by email, as in the board try and get together to work out do a bit of a workshop around which submissions, to throw or not. We can do in the afternoon. Yeah. Okay. Yep. The next one is closed. Right. So those are those ones. We will move on to special projects list. Oh, and just to note, there is no finance report this month. I can't remember why, but it'll be coming next month. You just approved it. So no, there was something around the process that Gavin was just speaking about. It's all tying in. So
Yeah, it's just the timing, the timing of the meeting and where it fell in their schedule for publishing their financials.
yeah,
They're busy focusing on the annual report and getting all the costs for that. So.
yeah. So
Good.
now special projects number 2. Now I would say are we sort of closed on that, given that is underway, or do you want to
Talk about Dex Reserve.
Dex Reserve? Are we happy? What's the feeling? Yes.
I think through you, Chair, that right from the beginning of this project, we thought we had mentioned the importance of taking our community on the journey with us and that we would do regular updates. So I think this was left on there so that we got updates. And I gather that Tony's away. But I think it's actually really important that we hear that we haven't come undone or unstuck with anything.
So we'll leave it on until it's finished.
I guess the whole conversation we had right at the beginning is we don't know what's not seen. So when you dig up something, you don't know what you're going to find. So when we remove a piece of the playground equipment, we don't know what's underneath because you can't see it.
Yeah.
So we felt that it was pivotal to continue to keep our community updated. I'm not updated. So how does the community get updated? So that's why it was staying on there.
Okay.
And it was just really good for Tony when he got back to give us a little heads up on how it's progressing.
Yes.
No, it's a pain in the neck that they put that fence up and then for the weekend, we've got to move it all to accommodate the markets and then re-erect it. So those are the kind of things that could potentially delay our day where you're opening it and you're having your game.
Yeah, good point, Councillor Walker. I'm just conscious when I look at that resolution from 2020 and here we are and
welcome to my world.
So good point. Is everyone happy if we just leave that on to the end of the project?
Yeah.
Okay. And we will expect an update next meeting. The next one, so the action was to remove that word annual on number 3, Maraho Sandy Bay Association, so that just needs to be done. And I don't know if there's anything else to add. Councillor Walker, do you want to add anything else?
Well, I was at their association meeting, I think it was last Monday night. Definitely the wetlands is part of a project that they're still working on and looking at. So I guess we hear from them the minute that make a decision. Have you heard Mr. Kirby from?
No, Aileen?
No, not him. Rutledge. Chris.
There's Rutledge, no.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Mayday.
it's time to go home. Lights are dimming.
Got half an hour. Okay, moving on. Motueka Cemetery. I don't know, did you have any updates, Grant, on behalf of Tony?
Only that Steve Richards is working on that.
Okay, so still
So thanks.
still moving forward. Okay, cool. Saltwater bars slowly takes you into the darkness. So we haven't had it. Have we? We've got an update in here, but I'm pretty sure Lynn talked about it last meeting.
Yes, she said that they were at the planting
Oh,
stage.
plants ordered, preparation underway.
Ready for winter.
So that was July's.
Yeah.
So hopefully next meeting it's all done.
Mm.
Dix Reserve again, landscape, blah, blah, blah. So we don't have an update on that. That was around, this is again another Steve Richards. This is around the seating design.
That design passed to us.
Is that,
We did.
I thought we did.
I don't know if that's the same one as the one at the playground or not. This is the seating design, layout and.
So that was Steve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did so.
Well, in our, there is a photo attached from our June meeting,
Oh, yeah.
but that was around the actual table and seat. My understanding was not the where everything's going. That,
Well, through you, Chair, I did have a conversation today, actually, Mark from the men's shed, and they're very busy beavering away getting the seating done. So
fantastic.
that was I was talking to him about a completely different matter, but he did raise that with me.
Okay, so maybe
That's cool.
the update is men's shed is got it.
In production.
Got it in production. Okay, so the next one was actually closed in July meeting, so we don't need to discuss that. Lynn said that's all done. The next one, number 8, Wharekapa Grove Reserve. Deputy Chair met with staff and sorted location. That's what I've written down.
So the update on 2024-2025 special projects is, so Wharekapa Grove, I met with Lynn Thursday last week, and also the neighbours in the street. And Lynn was there was an orange spray can, so we marked it out, ready, and she was confident that it was going to be going in the next 3 or 4 weeks, really. So that was good. The revamp of the Motueka map is almost done, so it will be ready to present to the board next month. For
To this board or to the?
to the
Maybe.
community board, because it says, special project. So I've already been liaising with
Adele.
Rohan and Adele. Rohan's the chair of the Tasman Bay Promotions and Adele is the manager of the eyesight. So the 3 of us have had our heads together and come up with quite a few design concepts. So it's for you then to approve and look at next month. The nest swing at Ted Reed Reserve in Rewalker. Lynn is going to talk to, there's about 10 neighbours where it's going to be, where this claw swing is going to be visible. So she's going to talk to the neighbours just to make sure that they're happy with it, that they're going to be looking at it. Because apparently it's quite a large piece of equipment. I did question, it might be the same thing. I did question that with Lynn, is because when we did the, dare I say, the elm tree, because it was approved in the board, Lynn said it wasn't necessary to talk to the neighbours for pre-approval because we'd already moved it. So I said, if that's the case, if we've already approved the special project of the swing, why do we need to then get approval? But it was definitely needed. But I did ask that question.
Just a few years ago, there was a slide put in a playground in town here. And the neighbour's wife rung council very quickly because his kids were standing on top of the slide going, or she was cooking a tea.
Oh,
So we had to shift the slide.
So
no neighbours.
So I'm sure that's why, so just so you know, there will be just a little bit of a delay, because obviously Lynn's got to have time to talk to the neighbours on that.
Should have done it back.
Now the picnic table at the Coomerers, we were looking at relocating the idea of the seat to be on TDC land, but Isabel and Paul Mosley are now back from their big trip away. So at the next Keep Motueka Beautiful meeting, I'm going to mention, because it was one of their projects as well that they wanted the seat down at the Coomerers. So basically, if Doc said we can have it there as long as they don't have to maintain it and remove it if it gets damaged. So I'm going to propose to Keep Motueka Beautiful that maybe they want to take up that side of it, which then problem solved. So I'll report back to you on that. No update on the shade sale. The Wharf. Rat Street, so that could be, that's all done. The Rat Street High Street.
So
that's
number
all done.
14's closed.
The welcome sign that's going to go by the bridge. There's a young stonemason that's moved into the area who's super keen to be involved in leaving his little legacy on doing the stone. So I've spoken to Michael Van Dillen, who is the stonemason that did the aerodrome one, and he is very keen for them to maybe do something together. So it's a collaboration. So that's really good. And there's no update about the stone concrete. I think Tony was going to look at something, but he's away. So that's the update.
Thank you.
Yes, Councillor Walker.
Thank you, through Chair. Just a quick go back to temporary reserve. So that basket swing thing was voted in. So we went out, consulted with our community, they voted it in. Can you confirm or clarify, is Lynn getting a conversation consulting the locals of its placement within the reserve as opposed to whether it's going to be there at all?
The placement will be by the playground, won't it?
It's discussed that it's going to be next to the picnic table.
Yeah, so if those neighbours turn around and say it's an eyesore, it's a hazard, it's a whatever, where does that conversation lead to?
Good question.
I'll
I'll talk to Lynn about it. Yeah.
Yeah, because
we don't
it
want to
passed.
stop the project.
It's a good conversation to have though. Otherwise,
Oh, totally.
all the neighbours will be in here saying, why don't you talk to me?
Yeah.
There's
So,
only one, sorry, there's only one neighbour that faces directly onto that playground. And they've got
Wharf Road?
kids on a school road.
No.
So it's on
the one that's got the pitched roof.
so school road on the corner. It used to be a reserve, and about 5 years ago, a new property was built there. So this is a second owner. The ones down Wharf Road are potentially, but there is flex bushes and trees and all of that. So I don't know. But anyway, definitely we're
Talk to Lynn about
questioning that.
whether it's about the placement or.
Fantastic. Okay. Any other questions about special projects? Otherwise, we'll move. Am I moving this?
Just to receive.
Oh, it's received. Yep. I've moved it. Hutt's second. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Hey, board member Hughes, well done. You stuck through the meeting. We're just moving into confidential. Hopefully we can do that in 20 minutes. We'll just put that karakia up so I can read it because I don't. Too tired. I was just going to say te hei mauri, get it over with. Okay, kua motuma mātou mahi mo tēnei wā manaki tia mai, mātou katoa, mātou hoa, mātou whānau, aia ki te aorangi. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Nat. Go rest up, have your honey lemon drink.